So I'd like to talk briefly about some of the concepts we'll explore in Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is all about local authentication, everything from how it's logged to how you can control it. So we're going to talk about local authentication and logging, where you find those log files. And as we mentioned much earlier in the course, nearly everything that Linux logs ends up in /var/log somewhere. Now, there are some special logs that you have to do special things to get access to, things like dmesg and the system journaling daemon, things like that. Things we've actually kind of used already in class, trying to explore, say, why a service we tried to start wouldn't start. You can do that with journal control, or even the system control command with the right flags. I can actually have it give you your logs. We can limit the login capabilities of our users, where they can log in, if they can log into a console at all. As we mentioned much earlier in the course, discussing the structure of the etc password file. At the end of every etc password line, there's a shell. And if you've got a user who has very specific requirements or very specific preferences, say, for example, you've got an older user, say someone who's been using Linux for decades, or Unix really for decades, and no, actually now that this is 2020, Linux was invented in 1991, so yes, you could literally have decades of experience with Linux and with Unix before it. Say, for example, you've got a veteran who just will not does everything, I don't know, in the C shell or the Corn shell or something like that, who doesn't want Bash. You can change your shell. Or if you've got an account that shouldn't log in ever, say, for example, the HTTP daemon for a web server, that account has to exist so the Apache daemon can start new processes and hand off web pages to folks that come surfing for web pages on your web server. You have to have the HTTP daemon, but you don't want to log in with the HTTP daemon ever. So you can do that. We can talk about disabling logins completely, or figuring out, like I said, where they can log in, if they can log in at all. We can monitor user accounts using the account command. We can define user authentication controls. We can use LDAP, access managed with IDAM, PAM. There's a lab about PAM, the pluggable authentication modules. So let's talk about user authentication and logging, some basic concepts. And this is, of course, all out of Chapter 4 of Practical Linux Security. I know it's backwards, but trust me. So everything, almost literally everything, is in varlog. Let's go look at that for just a minute. Let me find my, there. Here we go. Okay. I want to, so this is the Ubuntu VM I was using a little while ago. So let's go see what is in varlog on this particular box. Of course, your screenshot here is Kali. This is Ubuntu. Let's see what happens. Now, there are some other things you can do while this is thinking. If you want to look at your logins, you can use the last command or the last B command. Come on. I'm going to move this over here and see if it starts. Okay. Okay. Oh, and it's back. Now, it took a little while because I was actually upgrading. You can look at your log buffers using dmesg. The thing about dmesg is it's the kernel log, as in what the kernel's doing, new hardware booting, that sort of thing. There's also a boot log, but let's go look at /var. So, and actually, let me make this a lot bigger. That's better. CD var log. No, these things all belong to root except for the things that belong to syslog. So you've got your systemd journal, you've got some syslog things, there's a CUPS log, there's an installer log. So let's see. Let's see. Let's do now. One thing you can do. Oh, let's look at the auth log. Um, One thing you can do is the tail command. Now, the thing about the tail command is if you don't give it a number of lines to spit out, it will automatically do 10. So, um, this thing here, where it says tail-n10, and then var auth log, technically speaking, you don't need the dash n10 because that is what tail is going to do automatically. So let's do tail. Okay, come on, you. The auth log. And I might actually have to do this as, okay. I might actually have to do this as sudo. Okay, there we go. So, I have a session from root. Let's see, Pam kicked in for the root user. Okay, that's fine. And actually, let's do something a little more interesting. Let's do n20. Now, if you want to say get more lines of this, you can do 20. So apt-get update. Let's do auth-log 50. So actually, if I'm really let's actually do this on the server. That's probably going to be more interesting. So cd var log sudo tail auth log. Notice I was able to command complete that faster because sudo privilege has that ability. Let's see, dash n20 grep. Let's do test user. Let's see what the auth log says about that test user. Auth log says nothing. Interesting. Okay, not that. Okay, so Pam Unix sudos. So I see lots of sudo sessions. I'm opening root sessions. So we see that my AMP user with sudo privilege is actually in the background getting PAM authorization from sudo to do things as root. Let's do last. And this is actually something I kind of explored in the PAM lab. I can use the last command to see who's logged in lately, where they logged in from, if they're still logged in, how long the session lasted. Some of these sessions are quite short because when I was doing the PAM lab, PAM was getting in the way, and that's what I wanted it to do for the test user, but not for me. So let's do sudo last b. And okay, last b, okay. Last b root. Okay. Of course, I haven't actually done anything as root. Okay, so we have various fingerprints of the users, and let's do last log. See, this is the last time all these users have logged in, and some of them have never logged in, as you might expect. We're going to talk next about limiting user login capabilities with secure TTY. But that'll be the next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll continue this.